Hello and welcome to Dungeon Dining with me, the Dragon, Stale Rice. Say folks, what do we do after we're done eating a meal? Well, aside from washing dishes, what do we all do after we finish a meal? We throw away the scraps. Now, be them before or after a meal, these scraps can have many applications that end up lost in a trash can. I like to call these lost leftovers. Today we're going to use some often discarded items to make some tasty foods. And I'll tell you all some other applications for them. We're going to be using leftover mandarin peels, leftover french fries, and stale bread. Not to be mistaken with my cousin Stale Inbread, who's not related to my uncle Rice Pudding. He's related to my other uncle Horchata. Before we begin, we're going to go into our budget. And just to clarify, with my budgets, I typically exclude the following: herbs, spices, condiments, and staples. Essentially stuff that's already in the pantry or fridge. Now, I went to good old Wally World and I got ourselves 8 ounces of cheddar cheese for $2, Great Value brand Spam or luncheon loaf for $2.18, a can of diced tomatoes for $1.06, tortillas for $2.12, and a 6-pack of eggs for $1.22. Now, typically I would exclude eggs, but since we're using so many, I put them in the budget too. Now, folks, with our lost leftovers, we're making 12 servings of food plus snacks for $8.58. So what are we making exactly? Now, starting with our mandarin peels, they have many great applications. For example, you can use them for a zest, or use them as aromatic to marinate your meat or your soups, like pho, for example. I've done the same thing myself. But for our purposes, we're going to make some candied mandarin peels. Next is stale bread. You can use that for so many things. For example, you can use them to make croutons, or you can use them as a filler for meatballs or meatloaf. And as well, you can actually use bread and replace it with flour in certain recipes. However, we're going to make a simple but delicious classic bread pudding. Lastly, we're going to be using leftover french fries. Now, I got these late one night going to Popeyes, and as it turns out, alongside my order, they gave me a whole box of fries with no charge. I guess they were just getting rid of stuff, and that was very kind of them. The fries might have been cold, but no worries. Now, you can reheat fries in an oven or an air fryer. However, not everyone can stomach them as easy reheated. But you can take those french fries and dice them into nice little potato bits. And with this in mind, we're going to do that and turn these into country fried potatoes and put those in breakfast burritos. So then, folks, with our game plan in mind, who's ready to cook? I sure am, so let's get to it. Alright then, it's time to use our mandarin peels. Here they are. Now, I got these by taking a whole package of mandarins and making them into a jam. So I saved and froze these for later. And later on I sliced them up. And now, we're going to candy them. So over here I have my water and my sugar. But before candying them, let's clean them up. I have this pot here with some water. It's getting nice and bubbly. So let's clean these peels and make them nice and tender. Like a steak. Except not a steak. Here we go. Come on now, come on now. There we go. Put these into the water, let them submerge. Alrighty then, we're gonna let them stew for just a minute or so. And after the fact, we're gonna strain them. Now, once they're strained, we're gonna put in this water and the sugar. You see here we have 2 cups of water and 2 cups of sugar. We'll be combining them in the pot and making a simple syrup out of them. And that's how these are gonna get candied. Now, I think they have stewed for long enough, so let's strain them. Ooh, you can smell them. Give that a quick rinse. So here's the peels. And now with a simple syrup. Our 2 cups of water and our 2 cups of sugar. And we're going to let that combine. Now, folks, I recommend if you work with sugar, use a wooden spoon. I say this because plastic will easily melt, and you do not want that. So we're going to wait for just a bit for the water and sugar to emulsify. Alright, we got things to a nice, beautiful bubble. And I have tea-safe plates and wax paper. Now let's add in our peels. There we go. And dump them on in. Now we're going to let them stew for about 10 minutes. There we go. 3, 2, 1. There we go. So these things should be just about ready. Now if you want to let them stew for another 10, 20 minutes, be my guest. I've seen someone stew these for as long as 40 minutes, but they have had an adequate amount of time to stew. Right. Spread them out as well. Watch your fingers. Get some sugar and top them off. Woo! Alright then, yo. There we have it. We're gonna let these rest and cool down for a bit. But otherwise, here we have our candied mandarin peels.
Are you fucking serious?
That works! Oh my god! Oh! Alright! Alright!
I'm not even fully cool yet. They would benefit from a little bit more cooking. That worked though. That's perfectly adequate. Well then, I guess on to the next dish. So...
Alright then, now we're gonna be using our bread. Here we have 7 ripped up pieces of bread in a dish. And now we're making a liquid mix. More or less a custard. And to start off our custard, we have 2 eggs and a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And here we have a 1.5 cups of milk. Now, in you go, birdies. Oh no, the cow fought back. Let's puff those a bit and scramble them up. We'll do more of that in a second. We have 1/3 cup of brown sugar. Now if you want, you can use white sugar. But brown sugar is sugar that's been, well, browned. And has a bit more flavor to it. So let's add that. Now when the recipe says to have a cup of packed brown sugar, it's packed in. We have here 2 tablespoons of butter, or 1/4 stick. And right here we have a dry concoction. It's 1/2 teaspoon's worth each of ginger, nutmeg, and cinnamon, with a pinch of cloves and a teaspoon's worth of baking powder. Baking powder fluffs things up a bit. Let's add that. And now everything has a nice, good scrambling mix. Now behind me I have the oven on at 375. But before we bake things, let's add this concoction to our bread. Ooh. There it goes. Now, if you have any extra stuff in your pantry like raisins or chocolates or cranberries, they'd be great in this. But I'm going with what I have on hand. Make sure every piece is nice and soaked. After all, our bread is stale and hard. And we're trying to bring life back to it. I will bring you all back to life! You hear me? Alright y'all, well there's that. And this is going in our oven at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for 30 to 35 minutes. In the dungeon you go! See you later. So I'm gonna tidy this stuff up and we're gonna make a frosting. So I'll be back in a minute. Alright then, frosting time! Now when it comes to bread pudding, people do several things to top it off. Some top it off with powdered sugar, some make a vanilla sauce, others make a bourbon or rum sauce. So I'm gonna do a simplistic version of all those things. So I have here 2 cups of powdered sugar, and I have here 6 tablespoons worth of milk. I just added them to this. So let's add those and mix that up nicely. Alright then, look at that. Now next I'm adding some extracts. I'm sure most of you folks have some vanilla extract laying somewhere at home. And less of you, I don't doubt, have rum extract. Now if you only have vanilla, that's perfectly fine for this sauce. It's still going to be sweet and delicious and pair great with this bread pudding. But rum extract, my goodness, this will up it to the next level. When doing this before, this sauce with rum extract, imagine if eggnog were a sauce. That's what this will taste like. I'm going to add a teaspoon or 2. Yeah, 2. And also a couple teaspoons of vanilla. Alright, yes. Alrighty then. Now if your sauce is too thin, add a bit more powdered sugar to thicken it up. But otherwise, I think we're ready to dress our bread pudding once it's done baking. So I'll be back in another moment. Alrighty, let's get that bread pudding out of there. Oh my goodness. Okay, that baking powder did wonders. It really fluffed up. That thing is gorgeous. And now, let's add our frosting to this go. No lie, this smells like Christmas right now. I wish y'all could smell it. Alright, look at this beautiful thing right now. And that there is the use of our bread. Here we have our bread pudding. Now then, let's use our French fries. And as you can see, I did a lot of prep work here. Let me tell you about it.
So, as you can see here, we have some eggs, cheese, luncheon loaf, tomatoes, and our fries. So first I took our fries, which were frozen, defrosted them, and chopped them up really good. After that, I took our luncheon loaf and cubed them very small. I seasoned it with some hoisin sauce and some chili paste. I also took our cheddar cheese and I grated it. And lastly, I took our eggs and I scrambled them. So there we have our smorgasbord of stuff to make burritos out of.
So now we're going to take all this and fry it up. Except the cheese, of course. Starting first with the potatoes. The Spam will take no time at all to cook. So we're starting with these. Add some oil to the pan. But first let's say goodbye to the paws. And add these in. And for the potatoes, right here I have a seasoning mix. Now this consists of half a tablespoon worth each of onion powder, garlic powder, cayenne pepper, and thyme. And while those cook, let's get the eggs cooking too. Now with eggs, you can use multiple cooking fats to cook them. Right here I have vegetable oil. You can also use canola, butter, but I'm going simple dimple today. Whisk. Clean up as you go. Nice, simple, scrambled eggs. And after they're done, we're going to season them with some salt and pepper. Alright, let's add the seasoning. You add half for now, and the other half near the end. Now back to the egg. Ooh, those are fluffy. And the potatoes smell real good right now. Don't want to overcook them, they should be done right now. There we go. Nice, soft, fluffy eggs. Go over here for now. Alright. And now to cook alongside them, our Spam. Come on. Listen to that. You can smell it too. Got a beautiful potato and pork hash. Salt. Pepper. Alright y'all, it's going to take a minute to get these nice and cooked up. So I'll be back in just a moment. Okay, I think these are just about ready. Let's add the remainder of our seasoning. Give those a nice toss. And now, off the heat. And there we have a nice potato and pork hash. And now, we make breakfast burritos with my cheap Walmart tortillas. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Okay then, these burritos are going to be filled with our pork and potato hash, our eggs, our cheese, and our salsa. Lay one down. So I will show you all. First, some of our hash. Then some eggs. Then some of our salsa, or tomatoes with green chilies. Either way, close enough for our purposes. And lastly, some cheese. Now if you like sour cream or hot sauce, go right ahead and add that on in. But for now, let's fold this thing up and get it cooking. And let me show you how. Just gonna fold it like this, push the food back, fold these corners in, and wrap it the rest of the way like so. There you have a burrito. Now let's put it in the pan here. Let it cook up a little bit. And there we have it, folks. I'm going to make a few more of these, so I'll be back in just another minute. I'm sorry. Alrighty, folks, we finished our burritos. Look at that, 6 girthy burritos. But we're not done just yet. You see, our package here had 8 tortillas. So I took the remaining 2 tortillas and I sliced them into triangles. So we're gonna make these into little chips. I have here a cup of sugar and half a tablespoon's worth of cinnamon. Yeah, I kinda went overboard with this one. So I'm gonna fry these in some oil and coat them in the cinnamon sugar. So we'll have sweet cinnamon tortilla chips, which will be a nice side for our burritos. So then, let's get started. And also, let's be careful here. There we go. I hope you all can see that right now. Do a toss. Look at those. They're looking nice and golden. Quickly get them out of the oil and give them a dunk in that sugar. There we go. Alright folks, those are our first few. I have quite a few more to make, so we're doing another time skip. Alright there folks, there we have it, our breakfast burritos and our cinnamon tortilla chips. Look at all of those. Now, if I do say so myself, this was a great use of our fries and our tortillas. Speaking of the tortillas, one moment there.
Ooh, those are good. Those are good.
Done and done. We put good use to our leftovers, did not waste them, and made a bunch of food for cheap. Now folks, think about the scraps we throw away on a regular basis. They can have so many applications to your cooking. Say some leftover bones and some leftover veggie scraps. They can come together and make a delicious soup. I made some homemade ramen a good few times doing just that. And if you do that yourself, you can make a super flavorful stock at home. Now, in all fairness, we all only have so much space, and you don't want to hoard what you don't need. But if you can think of a good use for something that you can use in the near future, it doesn't hurt to store away for later.
Hello there folks, this is Editor Stale, and there are many more things you can use your leftovers for. Got potatoes? Make them into gnocchi. Got sweet potatoes? Make them into a pastry. You have green onions? Well, use the white scraps for later to flavor a soup. Are you afraid of the fruit you bought going bad? Make that a jam. And lastly, if you have leftover meat and don't know what to do with it, shoot, slice that thing up, pan fry it, and there you go. You have stir-fry meat, put it over rice, delicious. Or make it a sandwich or a taco. Oh, and one last thing, folks. I want to thank my friend Nightly for helping with the dragon relative joke, my friend Ryan for the art for that joke, and my friend TJ for making the family tree. Thank you guys so much.
Well then folks, thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you next time in my dungeon.